No, this isn't Belgium in the winter. Catalunya Stage 1 in miserable conditions and a finish which flirts with the definition of uphill drag. Volta Ciclista de Catalunya, 1 week stage race coming after Paris-Nice. No Slovenians here, but a stacked GC field nonetheless. Nairaman after a good Provence, good Paris-Nice. One of the contenders, Valverde, the course suits really well. He's got a strong team with Sosa and Verona. No time trial in this course, so Simon Yates, Higuita, Carapaz, and Ineos, who probably have the best GC team with Port and Carapaz and Carlos Rodriguez. There's a lot of strong GC riders here, but the mountain stages aren't that hard. There's only La Molina and Boitol, which are the third and fourth stages. I'll actually be going to see the start of the fourth stage because it's about 15 minutes south of my house. Terrible weather in the Pyrenees at the moment. It was cold, but not raining too much a couple of weeks ago. The last week and this week it's looking pretty miserable, even though we have the San Feliu start on the coast, which is like supposed to be a beach resort town. They go north to the Baix Empordà near La Scala and come down. Don't be fooled by this profile. The climbs aren't that steep. They're like 3Ks, 4%. 3.5Ks, 5%, 30Ks from the finish. It's a little uphill drag finish, which Michael Matthews won on in 2019. But when coverage started, the peloton was split in half, and it was completely the opposite of what you'd expect in crosswind splits. It was Israel with 6 riders, Bike Exchange with 7, including Woods and Michael Matthews and Simon Yates, their big riders in front, with Ineos, Bora, Arkea, Samsic, all caught behind. And the Baix Empordà, it's this flatland area to the east of Girona. It's very exposed. You can see loads of birds of prey if you're riding or driving through there. But 40-second gap, 60Ks to go. Movistar and Arkea absolutely committed to bring this back. Like, Nairo ain't here to just muck around. He's here to win GC, so he's put all his domestiques on the front, same with Valverde, with Verona and co. And in this group ahead, it was pretty much just Rowan Dennis, I think, pacing for Kreuzfahrt, which, to be honest, should be the other way around in my view. But that gap started coming back with Verona and co. pacing, and eventually with 50Ks to go, the excitement was done. That was when it was dry, and the weather conditions changed again after Caicedo on Education First went clear. He was joined by Bruno Almirall, Peter Seri, Widerberg for DSM in a second breakaway. So the peloton was relatively happy for this to go and take 40 to 60 seconds. We've got to look at the finish line for the first time with 37Ks to go, an uphill drag of about 4%. Not so long, but then the weather just got absolutely miserable, raining about 10 degrees. Once they go inland to those Pyrenean climbs, it's going to be a lot colder than that, and if it's raining, it will be very nasty. Some on-road maintenance for UAE. Does someone hold his legs when he's leaning out? I never know, like, or they just hook their foot onto something. Anyway, Castroviejo and Geesink shutting down that breakaway pretty well. After the last climb of the day, it only had 23 seconds with 24Ks to go. And Movistar pacing, or whichever Movistar domestique it was pushing hard on the descent, followed by Dylan Turns for Bahrain Victorious. Now, they brought Phil Bauhaus here. He won a stage at Tirreno Adriatico the other week, but he's dropped at this point. Even on these short climbs, he got dropped, so they're here for Colbrelli. He didn't start at Milano Sanremo because he had bronchitis, European champs jersey on, and an uphill sort of drag that suits him. Now, Carapaz has some sort of issue. I don't know if he crashed or had a mechanical, but he's brought back by Castroviejo and Luke Plapp, and got back into the peloton pretty comfortably before the sprint lead-out started properly. But the break was dangling at 9 seconds. There were a couple of little rises as they got close to the coast. They had Turns pacing, then Pernsteiner for Colbrelli took over, but it was actually Quick-Step Alpha Vinyl. And as I said, is it an uphill drag puncher finish? Is it a sprint? They were going for Andrea Baggioli, the fast, light, young Italian rider. I think Verraika on the front. And because of this descent into the last K, he was able to stay there for a while. He's got Colbrelli third wheel, Bling and Simon Clark behind him. Interestingly, Israel Premier Tech went for Clark, or Impey wasn't on today. I'm not sure why. I thought this finish really suited Impey, who came, I think, top 3 in a Catalunya sprint last year behind Sagan. Sylvain Monuquet for Lotto Soudal attacks with 850 metres to go, and it's actually El Jaguar Dorado, Richard Carapaz. We have a stage at Costa Dorado rather, in a few days, following Monuquet, and Carapaz has jumped the peloton and surprised them and won a stage like this in the past. He goes with 450 to go with Colbrelli on his wheel, Michael Matthews on Colbrelli's wheel the whole time. Molano and Hofstede are probably the quickest flat sprinters here, but either the difficulty of the stage or this long, interminable drag, which Carapaz does the lead up for, sapped the legs of those proper bunch sprinters, with Colbrelli in good position but perhaps jumping the gun a little bit early. He looked back, maybe didn't see Bling, was right on his wheel and jumps with 200 meters to go. Going to the left, Michael Matthews to the right. Hasn't won a stage since he returned to Bike Exchange in 2021, the Catalan flag obscuring him, and in this uphill drag, which he won on stage 2 a few years ago, beats Colbrelli on the other side of the road by over a bike length, nearly 2. He's back winning. Bike Exchange they've got to be happy with their last couple of weeks, with Matthews top 5 Sanremo, Yates stage, and top 3 podium result at Paris-Nice, and now Matthews back winning at Catalunya. He was G'd up. The team did a good job all day. They brought probably the Tour de France team here, celebrating with Port and his wife and doggo at the finish line, who, by the way, is like, you ain't getting away that fast, buddy. Bang. Let me lick some of that sweaty ear. Got it. Matthews winning ahead of Colbrelli, Pacher, who looks really good at the moment, actually. Igita Baggioli, Jensen, Clark, Prades, Hofstede, and Volta. Unfortunately, after the stage, we heard through Teledeporte Twitter account that Sonny Colbrelli, who came second on the stage, had collapsed after the finish line and, in their words, needed cardiac massage. The Bahrain victorious rider, fortunately, and this is the only news I know for now, Bahrain released a statement a few minutes ago that he's in a stable condition, and other journalists have said he's conscious and he's going to hospital, and they thanked Volta Catalunya and the medical teams for their support and assistance. So best wishes to Sonny Colbrelli and his recovery. Hope he's okay. Really scary seeing things like that after the stage. I'll be following that closely in the team's Twitter for updates, and we'll hopefully provide you with good news in the recap video tomorrow. Until then, ciao.